Welcome to FartherHood. My guest today is Chandler Ferreira. Chandler is we're going to call it a cousin. His mom is married to my uncle, and they've been together for a very long time. So I'm just going to refer to him as my cousin. Chandler is a new father, kind of going through some difficult times, different situations that made this kind of tricky. And if you asked me, years ago, if I ever thought you would have the capabilities of being a dad, I would have said no way. Chandler was a little wild growing up, and has since then did I don't know if the term was a term, is it 180 or 360? 360, I think that puts you all the way back around to whatever, but maybe it's 180. I watched Chandler transform his life, change his life, and I think a lot of that comes with just being a good father. And so Chandler, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Good to be here. It's good to be here.
So we're just going to knock out some questions to get the uneasy, unnatural stuff out, and then we'll just let the conversations flow. There's no boundaries. There's sensitivities I know on your side, and we're going to respect those. So Chandler, when I put this podcast together, other than being family, you were one of the first ones actually to text me and one to actually come on yourself. What made you want to do this?
More so, I saw when you posted it, I saw what you were going for, what you were talking about. Not exactly what you're going for because you're turning it into your own destiny. Yeah. But I saw that not enough dads get love. And I see that, like you said, there's not enough podcasts talking about what dads go through or struggle. It's what we're talking about.
We have a baby crying in the background.
So I saw that, and I was dealing with my own things, and I was taking them silently, I'd say. And when I saw you were, because this is a vulnerable thing to go on here, because you know how the world is. The world's not kind all the time, so it takes a big heart to go to the world and want to tell stories that, there's people out there that would use against you because they're miserable. It's hard to do that. But I figured if you could do that, I said, I have stuff that I should talk about because there's lots of dads that don't give up, but they look like they gave up because they were forced to give up.
Yeah, I agree. You're in a predicament, and I don't think your situation's permanent, but it takes a lot to get through what you're going through. And Chandler is I appreciate him coming on here. Chandler also did a stint in some music. He actually makes really good rap music, and I think the only thing that's been holding Chandler back is Chandler. And so when he first started putting stuff out on iTunes and Spotify, I don't know if it was in person or a text message. And I just said, "Hey man, keep grinding, keep doing it. Like don't let anybody judge you or whatever." And so I'm going to be honest with you, me doing this podcast, I've had to take my own advice. Like I told you that. So like, hey, it's no sweat off your back. Who cares? And here I sit, under these lights and cameras and this microphone, and, whether I'm with my son or not, like I'm literally crying on camera, and having to choose to edit that and then put that out has been very hard. So I commend you for coming on. Obviously, the people watching, you see the office backdrop, you see, a nice setup, but we got a big bright light shining down on us. You got phones and cords everywhere, and it's the real deal. Obviously, we're a small brand right now, but I do think that this community can grow, and I think the growth is going to come from people like you sharing your story. So we're going to talk. I know, you've had just knowing your life, and actually, how old are you?
25.
So Chandler's 25. I'm 36. I'm 11 years older than Chandler, and I've been around Chandler since he was a young. I don't know if it was 6, 7,
6
8.
years old.
Oh, 6, 7. That's gonna go.
Didn't hit my mind.
So I watched Chandler grow up, and he's had a difficult relationship with his father, which if he wants to talk on, he can. But to see you just here and to have your son and go through that little hiccups you're going through and to stay committed I didn't think you had it in you. You're right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being honest. I didn't think that was something that you would do. And so I'm proud of you. I just want to start off saying that. I think that means a lot. There's men in your life that I know are proud of you. I just want you to know that.
Thank you.
So we're going to let Chandler take the mic and just kind of talk about his current situation, Your son, how old is Grayson now?
He's about to be 11 months on the 5th.
But you can kind of walk us through these past 11 months or what led up to, and share what you want to share, and we'll go from there.
I remember when I found out I was having Grayson, I was nervous. I thought I was really nervous. I thought I was being really secretive about it, but apparently everybody knew that Grayson was coming. I remember being excited though, because it was, I don't know if I wouldn't say he was an accident. I think he was more of a blessing, I'd say. I never thought it'd be real. Still, it didn't feel real till 4 months, till he was with me for 4 months, and that's when it felt really real. But I remember the pregnancy test. I remember getting a pregnancy test, and I was like, that's not real. No, I bought like 4 more, and then they were all messed up. Every single one of them would not show the 2 little lines, or it would just show nothing, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. But finally it was positive and it was real. So I had to come to terms with that, and I was getting really ready for that.
So I'm not going to dip into your relationship, but when you find out you are pregnant, and you kind of start gearing up for that, was it joyful? Was it joyful because you're like, were you scared at all because of the situation? Make you concerned about being a dad at all, or did you think that was going to help fix it, or how did you, without dipping too deep in the relationship, was it a factor in how you felt about being pregnant?
Yeah, I'd say in the thought too, you think, this will fix my problem. This will fix my problem. So you go in there thinking, oh, maybe this is what I need. This is what I need. And it doesn't fix it. It totally doesn't fix it. When you're in it, you think sticking around for him now is what you need to do, because I want to see my son grow up, and that's what I told myself. I remember telling myself that, and there was times that it's not to throw shade at any moms out there in the world, but you think, I need to stay and fix this, and I can be in my son's life, and that's what I told myself, and I stuck that through, and I was grateful because I wouldn't have had as much time with my son that I did. I can think ahead before it's ahead, and I've done it my whole life. I can see how it goes in the future, and I knew I wouldn't have known him like I knew him, and I don't regret a thing. God, I believe he shaped me into this on purpose. He gave me this lesson. I see it as a lesson. I don't blame him. I question why a lot, but he always answered. I never felt I was ignored. I'm probably getting off track, but that's what led me to that. That's definitely what led me to my son. I stuck with him for that, and God saw a situation that no one else saw, and he said, this is better for your son. And I just rolled with him. I understood. I knew it was love, I'd say, but it was his own version of love, and I'll forever be grateful for my son. So there will always be not love like you would think of a relationship, but I will always love that I was given my son. It's time now that you have to grind. You have to, because you can't leave him with nothing. And that's what I was telling myself. So I sold a lot of things. I sold trailers, everything, because I knew this baby was coming. Mm-hmm. And granted, everyone has a baby shower, so that helps a lot when people bless you with gifts. Yeah. I just remember wanting a house, because I lived in my parents' basement at the time, all the way, which till 23, 24. I was 23, I think, when I moved out, and then I lived with more parents and in a house, which it was not like a home. It was not good on the mental space, because you were living in a little room. So I was telling myself I had to get a house for Grayson, and he was being born when I got a duplex. My sister at the time had put in an application all these duplexes for me. She was in it because I was in the hospital when Grayson was being born. So we were in there 4 days because the snow. They kept us. We couldn't even get a notarizer there because they couldn't get there. So we were stuck. And I remember being excited. I was just praying on that. I remember being so excited to go in there. I was telling the guy, I've never had a house before. This is my first house. And he was like, I can kind of tell. He said, I'm going to rent it to you though. It was my first time setting up house. So I was just excited to get Wi-Fi in my name.
No, those are big moments. Did your Grayson's mother, did she reside with you there?
No, it's just me and Grayson on the lease.
Okay. So I guess when did, let's dive in here. Let's get to the meat on the bone. So there were some things that happened in your relationship, right? That caused for you all, and this is all alleged stuff. We're not here to be lawyers. We're not here to get on the legal stuff. So everything I'm going to say right now is allegedly or whatever, but you guys go through some legal stuff. And I guess what I'm trying to ask is how long were you with Grayson before you were without Grayson? Like how many months were you all together?
4 months, and I did the math on it because he was born on the 5th, so I only had, it was 4 months and like 16 days.
So Chandler got 4 months of like day-to-day interaction with his son, which that's crucial. Those first 3 months, really the first 6 months, and then some things happened, obviously, and baby was just removed, or baby was just with mom, right?
Baby was just gone. It was 4 months of loving something so much, just gone. That's what was hard. Grayson, he's just learning the world. Grayson loved his dad. He didn't have a dad that gave up on him. He didn't have a dad that was leaving him. He didn't have a choice. And if Grayson could talk and had a choice, Grayson wouldn't have left. That's what I know. Grayson he loves his dad. He was, like I said, he didn't have a choice, and it's not fair to not give him a choice. I understand if there was a dad in the picture that was a threat to Grayson, that was beating and showing violence and neglecting Grayson, making sure Grayson I'm going to put Grayson in a corner and not think. No, Grayson was always held. Grayson was 24/7 loved. Grayson loved naps. Grayson's bottles were always sterilized, and Grayson was always happy baby. And he still is a very happy baby. Grayson was removed for 4 months, and I was left alone to whatever. I think it was hope that I quit.
So, Grayson's removed from your house, right? And he's in sole custody at the time with mom or their family or whatever, but you are now removed legally, right?
Yeah, legally,
you legally have no option to go get him at that time, right?
No option, no anything.
So I want you to be real first off, and then I want you to. It's kind of a two-part thing. One, I want you to tell me, what did that do to you? Before you answer, what did that do to you? Just having that disconnect. What were your feelings? What were your thoughts? How did you get through a day? And two, after you answer that, I want you to, there's dads out there that might be going through similar situations. And so what this podcast is for, what this show is about is you have the courage to be in that chair. And so what would your advice be? Because that situation you're in right now is a very popular is not the word. It's a very normal situation. Unfortunately, in the realms of unmarried younger parents, mom, dad have kid, not married, things go south, mom takes kid, legal actions, boom, dad's trying to scrap to get back in the picture. I want you to give me on that second part the advice that you would give a dad that's in your shoes. How did you not quit? So one, how did you just feel? Like if you had to use a couple words to just describe how it felt to be without your son, and then two, the advice you would give somebody in your shoes.
Betrayal was the first thing, and it was like losing your soul, because immediately you feel the disconnect. It's just empty. You're left in emptiness, and it's just quiet in there. It's just real quiet, and it's not real. So in your head, it's like, no, I'll see him tomorrow. He'll be here tomorrow. So you go with that day by day. It's no, he'll be back in a week. So then you wait a week, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen in a week? You think, but nothing can happen because you're told by the courts, okay, don't say anything. And I didn't plan on saying anything when what has happened. I don't ever plan on saying anything. I haven't said anything. This is the most I'll probably ever talk about. This is the most I'll ever even be vulnerable, because it's a part of my life. It's out there forever. Grayson would grow up and want to know one day, but I don't plan to tell him anything ever negative. He don't know, so why even let him know? But I felt it was just a trance. That's what I would say. You were just tunnel. It wasn't real. I remember I was 235 pounds, and I watched that drop drastically, really fast. It wasn't from exercise. I did work out. I was pushing weights all day. I would just go in there. I don't even know I was mad. I didn't have any anger. I was just numb. I would do that every night. I made sure it was just water. I cut out anything. I was trying to stay healthy too because it was just numb. Because every day was, I'm not gonna give up because he's waiting. If I don't come for him, no one sees him again. That's what I told myself. It didn't cross my mind once to leave the world. I mean, you think things when that happens, but you don't mean it. What I did was I went into my room, I got on my knees on the end of the bed, and I prayed to God. I yelled, I just screamed, not anything bad, I just screamed, please, God, show me a sign to fix this. So if it's meant to be, please show me how I'll fix this. And I thought he wasn't answering me. Every time I thought he wasn't answering me, but he was. Every time was there was never, you were left like not with just not seeing him, you were left with no pictures of him.
Yeah.
It was ghosts. You weren't getting pictures. You didn't know where he was. You didn't know how he was. There was nothing. There was no, oh, he's okay. Like, there was no making sure, oh, well, here, if he can't see him, maybe let's make sure Gigi or Mimi and Papaw can see him. There was nobody knew anything. There was nothing.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. So kind of on that again, just so what, like if there's somebody out there right now that's, let's just say there's somebody out there right now that's going through the legal battle, or maybe there's not legal involved yet, but mother or the other family or the court system is withholding the child from them. What's your advice? Where do they find the strength to keep fighting?
Never give up. Your child is your strength to keep fighting because he or she wants you. They want to say, Dad, they don't want to grow up. And I learned this from you. The day I told you, I remember in the pool, you said, don't give up if it takes 3 years, 5 years, because he will always wonder. And I know that stuck with me. I remember that. And I didn't give up. I didn't. I said, he will remember. I knew that advice. I knew because I know he's going to grow up. He's going to be like, why didn't my dad give up? Why didn't my dad fight for me enough? And I won't stop. I would never stop. I won't stop till it's 50-50 custody. And even that's being nice because I would never take my son from any parent, even no matter the circumstances. I don't care how he goes on as long as he's healthy and happy. I don't need to know what he's doing. But when he's at dad's, that's my worry. He's always my worry. And I'll never stop. That's for all dads. If any dad is going through anything in the courts, if they're talking, making you look bad, you just keep going because the truth will always come out and it will always come to light. And I know that. And it's a test. It's not, you feel like while you're in there, oh, why are they doing this to me? It's because they want to see if you will keep going for your son. And I will always go for him. And that's exactly what it is. I keep wondering, why is it so harsh? Why are they so rude? Because they don't know me. Mm-hmm. If someone puts something on you first, they got to believe that side. So that they're going to listen to that first. And they got to see that you really want that. Do you want it? And I don't think that he should have been gone as long as he has. I think if that got looked into, that a lot of people would be saying sorry. I know that for sure.
Yeah, that's great. I think just saying to keep fighting. Obviously, hearing that is news for me because obviously, I've had relationship failures and stuff, and I've had to go through co-parenting, and my legal battles have been very slim. I've been able to work things out with them to where there's limited legal interaction or mediation. So I just couldn't imagine. I could not imagine. It's hard enough on days, even with like 50-50 custody, it's hard enough on days where my son goes to his mom's. And it's not because, I mean, he has a wonderful life there too. He has siblings there. Like, they have a great life. He loves mom, loves his siblings. But like when I hand him out the door, man, it crushes my soul. And I'll get him back in 2 days and it kills me. So I couldn't imagine like you. It's just so, I have a new respect because to see like guys like you and to know that you're fighting for something that could be way down the road. You've gained some time now. You get supervised visits and more hours and stuff. But like dads that are just going off hope and prayer, it takes a different animal, man. It's an incredible story you're gonna have, and you're gonna be able to share. And I think as you get more comfortable telling your story, and you meet people like similar to you, I think you're gonna make a huge impact on them. And it's just cool. It's just kind of been cool to watch. Obviously, we're not in contact. I'm not in contact with you guys all the time. We all have our own lives, but it's been cool to have a sideline seat of watching you mature and just kind of step out in faith. I wouldn't have taken Chandler for a big faith guy if you asked me that a few years ago, but to watch you allow God intervene in your life, it's been awesome. And that's the big takeaway. And you said lessons earlier, and that's what I would say. Don't confuse lessons with blessings. And so all of it is a blessing. Grayson's a blessing. The trials and tribulations you're going through will eventually be blessings. Right now they may feel like lessons, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's going to be, Grayson's young right now. And so it's going to be time all this is over with. Look at me right now. I didn't have a dad. I couldn't tell you when I remembered that I didn't have a dad. Like, I don't have memories before 5. So think about it. That's why I was telling you in the pool, like 3, 5, 6 years, you're going to feel it every day, every second. He's not going to remember that. So as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do now, say it is 5 years. Let's just say in 3 years, it's 3 years till you finally get the equal time sharing 50-50 custody. He's not going to know that. You know what I'm saying? Like his life is going to be great. It's the dads that get in these situations and say, hey, this is too hard. I'm out. That sucks. I know it's hard. It's got to be hard on the person in that position. But there's, like you said, what's your advice, or what was your thing to keep doing? You just said, hey, my son's on the other side. Like, if I know my son's there, I don't need motivation. I don't need a encouraging word. I just need to know my son's there, right? And I'm going to keep going.
Nothing matters after that. It's just him. I've had the sentimental attachments to materials, and you keep his baby stuff. Like, oh, this means a lot to me, baby. And when you lose it all, you learn that it's just material. I'll get more. And that's exactly, I didn't get more. I was blessed with my family. They were there, and within a week he had a nursery again. And I knew he would come home. I never believed he was gone. He was only gone if I stopped. He's not. He'll never be gone, because I will never stop. And it's easy. I never liked to drink personally. I couldn't do it, even if people thought I did. It was in a cup forever. I didn't like it. It makes you feel gross. It's not like I can't handle it, in my opinion. It's not something I do. And it's easy to want to tap into that when you lose your son. Just anything that you're going through in life that's hard, you think, oh, what's the easiest way? And that's not the easiest way. That's worse, because now you're trapped with it even more. I didn't even do that, and I knew that people would probably thought that I've done that, and more allegations got told on me that I was an alcoholic. I had the proof on that I wasn't, and it's from day one. Every test, anything, I can get blood, pee, hair, I could do that any day, and I tell that, and they see that, and they'll see through that, and they'll know. And it's all I thought about was just healthy for my son. I'm not the healthiest guy, but I make sure I drink a coconut water every now and then, and I'll push a weight, and I'll.
So you're telling me the key to fatherhood is coconut water?
The key to fatherhood is coconut
is that
water.
A hot take right now?
It is. Try it. I'm serious. You'll feel hydrated. You'll feel good.
No, that's awesome. So to catch us back up here, so you went from out without seeing them. How many months was it of nothing?
It was almost 6 months of nothing.
That's a lot.
Silence.
That's a lot.
It was silence, but when you're fighting for your rights, which is very few when you're being framed as someone you're not by other people, you just wait to hear any advice, anything about him. And I remember being told that I could get put in a greenhouse 17. That's what I was told it was. I kept calling it a green room. I didn't know what it was. I was like, what? I remember I did my intake. I just remember getting told that I should see my son. So that's what it was. It was 5 months. I got told that I would see him, because obviously social services got involved. They get involved when something's reported like this. Just even an argument. That's what it was, is an argument. That's the worst. At least it's nothing usual without this. So you wouldn't think arguing in front of a baby. You just think, oh, that's normal. Everyone argues. But now I see in my life, I'll never even argue with a random person in front of my son. My son's with me. No one's catching an argument. I'm not doing that. But that's what it was. So you learn that. So they're involved, and they're not your friends. I know that. I know they're not your friends. They don't care what you have to say. You can have a binder of the proof that's defending you. They don't care. But even with that involved, I'm just happy that's involved. I mean, they'll treat me like they would think I murdered somebody. How they treat me, they talk really rude, and that's hard because they don't care what you went through. They don't know how long it's been. And well, you can see your son as we get told. You get told you're gonna see him, and then another month went by. That's when I'm just waiting because it's all you did your part. Now wait for the other part to be done till you can see Grayson. But I remember checking. I remember going for the first day to see Grayson. I made sure that I had to be there. I was in the parking lot an hour early every day. She even came out. The lady came out and said, "Why are you here so early?" And I said, "Because I ain't risking a flat tire, nothing. I'll be here. If I had to run there, I was there." And she was like, "Well, if you're ever," I said, "I'll never be late." And I made sure she knew I was never late. I didn't take any toys the first time because I knew he was coming. I didn't know what he would look like because I had no pictures of him. I just had my little wallpaper of him, and that's what I stared at forever. And I just sat in a chair, and I had to be there 15 minutes early. I remember waiting, and I was nervous, and it sounded like doors, like when you walk out of like a, when you walk out of a gym at a school, just the push of a door. I remember the lady walking in there, and she put a chair down, and she was like, "Grayson will be here in a little bit." That didn't feel real to me. I was sitting there, and I cried. I sat there, I cried, and one of the nice ladies in there, I won't say her name for the legal reasons, she walked in there and she talked to me, and she was real supportive, and she was like, "You okay?" Like, she's telling me that it's gonna be okay, that he's gonna be here in a minute. And I just remember hearing that sound of the door getting pushed, just the push, and it went quiet, and then you heard it open, and I just heard a cry, but it was familiar. It was the familiar's cry. As soon as I heard the cry, it was the same little light baby cry. It's the lightest cry I've ever heard. So it's not like a screaming baby. He's just calm. And I could hear that cry, and I was already crying. And he came around that corner. He was so big. Like he was. I mean, he's in a 2T. Not even 11 months old yet.
Yeah.
He's in a 2T, and he comes in that room. And I remember just going like that. He was made to forget me. That's what was hope. So before I went there, I'm backtracking. I made sure that I went to TJ Maxx, made sure I found the exact same cologne. I wore an orange work shirt because that's what he only remembered me in. I got the same hat that he was born in. I just was trying everything I knew because I got the same deodorant. I bought that. And I made sure I put all that on me, and I didn't care. I looked. He didn't care. He wasn't gonna judge me. And I went in there, and I heard that door open, and he was coming, and he came in the room. I was crying before he got in the room because I heard that noise. I remember I couldn't breathe, but I seen him come in. He came in the room and he looked over at me and he was just crying. But he was staring at me, but he was crying. And I was crying, so I knew that was freaking him out. He has this little thing. One day I think someone said he was fussy, so I would always go like, "Fussy baby." That's what I'd say to him,
Yeah.
and he loved that. He would laugh. He'd laugh at that, and I was just trying to do everything familiar to him. So when he got in that room, I was crying. I was crying so hard, but I swallowed the tears I could, and I pushed it out, and I just, "Fussy baby," and he was, "What?" And he just stopped and he looked at me, and I was just excited he remembered me. I didn't care. I only got an hour. I only had an hour with him. I remember being I just held him. I just held him that whole hour, and he was crying, and then he warmed up a bit and he played with me, but I just held him the whole time. I know they're sitting there with a clipboard, so you're sitting there like nervous, like, or they think I'm doing this wrong. What do I do? Because he doesn't, he's a baby. I just want to love on him. I sat there and that's the thing. I'm wondering why I get to hold him again. So I just wanted to hold him, but you got someone sitting there with a clipboard, so you're thinking too, what do I do? If I don't do it right? Like, are they gonna write down on me? Are they gonna take him? Are they gonna turn it in? So I'm just holding him, and he's doing good. I think he got sent to me at feeding times. I think the times were picked to. I got the feeding bottle, but he was fussy. He was pushing through that, and I think he pushed through that. the last he started crying in the end. He had a tummy ache, I think, and I give him his little teething snacks. I knew he was teething too. I
Mm-hmm.
saw a tooth, so it maybe wasn't a tummy ache. It was the teething. But they told me that at the 10 minutes they came in there and said, we're gonna have to cut it short. He's crying. I don't like to keep it. And I was just like, what? I was in shock, but I can't argue with these people. But that sucked to be like, I haven't seen you in 6 months, and they're gonna say 10 minutes early. 10 minutes is not a lot to them. That's hours. I mean, that was days. Each minute was days, because you can't. That's anything. I look at it that way. You can't get back what you lost. There's no even words to make up for what you lost, and then all you have to do is you start thinking. You hear from enough people, well, if other people want to do the hard part, let them do the hard part, and then you get him when he's fun. And I said that I wanted to see the first steps. I wanted to see. I liked all that stuff, but when you're forced with no choice, you just keep going. And they cut it. They cut that 10 minutes early, and then you got to sit back 15 minutes. So now you're sitting there, and you hear the crying, and that door again, that noise. That's what I remember, the door noise. Pushed open, just crying, and it just shut, and it stopped, and it was just silence for 15. It felt like hours, just silence. I was just sitting there like they have to think I'm weird, because I was not talking. I was in shock. Because he was so big. He was giant. He was like a toddler. And it was like holding a toddler, and they just came in there and told me it gets easier by the times, and I was like, I didn't see it getting easier, but now that was every week, so now I knew I'll see him again in a week, in an hour, and I was like, that's days to me. But next time I thought I need to get him excited this time. I was like, so I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna keep any emotions. I was like, I'm gonna just swallow it, and I'm gonna be happy to him this time, because he came in there crying. So I got to have him come in there this time, and as soon as he came in there, I would stand up every time, and this was the second time, and I just stood there and said, "What are you doing?" I made it like normal to him, and he came in there and he was crying, and he stopped. He stopped for a second this time, and then I knew he remembered me because he was looking at me, and I just kept trying to put dad to him. That's all I wanted to do. I was like, it's dad, it's dad. I just want him to know I'm dad, because I was like, it just felt like he would have forgot, and that was nap time. I think that time it was nap time, because he fell asleep in my arms, and he had to be. I weighed him last time. He's 23 pounds now. So at the time I predicted 25. So he had to be 20 pounds. It felt like a 50-pound baby. But I held him and he fell asleep. And that lady in there said, you could probably sit down with him now. But now I know you're going to take him if he cries. So I said, and I stood there and I held him for a whole hour. I let him sleep in my arm. I said, if he wants to sleep here, I don't care. I can just hold him. And I held him for that whole hour. I couldn't feel my arms. They were gone. I knew they wanted to give out. I didn't let them. I just held him for the whole hour. And even the lady was in there sitting there going, how much do you think he weighs? I was like, he's heavy. He's a heavy baby.
That hearing that makes me just what you're saying. Like I can see how much it means to you, and just how I think you're going to be a great dad. And I think that you don't have anything you're going to have to worry about moving forward once you all get out of this situation.
Yeah, I don't. This situation that happened, I don't think was aware that the seriousness of it. I don't believe.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't believe they had any idea. I say some people had ideas. I don't believe that this wasn't one mind. This was a lot of minds that came together to make this happen.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that on the record, I guess, and I don't have a dog in this fight or a lot of other fights. At any point in a child's life, right? Whether you be a baby like you are now, or a toddler, or even a kid, it is vital. It is vital that you, as the adult, mom or dad, think twice about your decisions. Now, if you're in a true domestic violence situation, you're in there's a true threat to life, and you need to stuff. I get it. There's resources out there for that. If a dad or mom have a blow up argument or disagreement, and maybe you're not married, so there's opportunities for custody. If you go for blood in the early stages, if you go for blood, and it may feel right at the time because you're angry. You don't get to back once the social services and once lawyers and the state's involved, you don't get to backtrack and say, "Oh, you know what? Actually, I feel better now. Let's can this." That's not how this works. So my advice to anybody out there is if you are in this back and forth battle, maybe with your spouse or your partner or somebody you've broken up with, please do not use children as leverage. It is damaging to the person more than you can believe, and it is going to be damaging to the child if you can't work. Like, luckily you got the power and willpower to fight through this. Not everybody can, and so because of an argument or because of harsh feelings on a day, you could change your own child's chemical makeup in life, like forever. Chemical makeup's not the word. Let's change that. You could change that child's life negatively. And so I really commend you on sticking this out. I know you're more than 1 hour now, right?
Yeah, it was, what is 1 hour? What you just said, I was gonna say that it's it's only after you bring things, you need to learn that it's only this isn't something for me to go on and be like, oh, I was hurt or sad. That's an understatement. It's not. I wasn't feeling any sadness about anything other than my son. That's just what I want to be known to the public. I only thought of my son, and I only felt that loss. That was the only thing that hurt the most. Everything else was fine. I was okay. I was never, but it's never okay without him. So I wasn't okay. I'm contradicting right there. It was just about him, and it will forever only be about him. I would have, I never saw anything as evil coming my way in life, but nobody can beat God. And that's one thing I know, that no, you can't beat God. And that's who I had to get in on this, because I lose battles. I'm comfortable with that. I walk in, I can get laughed at in the room. I can get told I'm the worst person in the room. My facial expression doesn't change because people see that, and God sees that. And if God wouldn't have what's happening right now, and he heard, and I doubted in the start. I went to church. I did, because what do you do when you're down? You got to find answers. And I was going to church every Sunday. I did that for like 5 months, and one day I stopped, and then I didn't go back the next day. And then, well, now my Grayson days are on Sunday, so I haven't been in probably 4 weeks or 5. It's been 2 months, but you you have to have faith, because he hears you, and it doesn't answer you in the way you wanted. But if you think about it, he did answer you in the way you wanted, just not when you wanted. And that's how he works. It's rewarding. God rewards good, and it's not just good. He watches what you do, because the day that it's always felt numb. I go about my day as all numb, but I had no money. I had no money, and I was stopped at a gas station the day that I got a call, and it was I was getting work truck gas for the work truck. I went in there. I had no money. I was getting a drink. I had enough for a drink, and I think I had $16 in my wallet on Apple Pay because my sister gave me that. And I walked out, and a homeless man was standing there, and he said, "Do you have any money, man?" And I opened my wallet to show him no, and he's like, "I'm hungry." And I said, "You're hungry?" And I said, "I could probably get you food, dude, if you want a piece of pizza or something." And he said, "Yeah, I want a piece of pizza." So I was like, "Go get you a piece of pizza, dude." And they didn't have it. And he said, "Oh, they don't have it." I said, "Well, I bet they'll make it fast. If you want, I'll just pay for it and you can get it later." He said, "I just want this sandwich." And I said, "All right, let's get that sandwich." And I said, "You want a drink?" He said, "No, I have one." And he rung it up and he just walked out. So I dinged that, and I went on about my day. And I was doing a delivery for work. I was near my house, actually. I was near my house. I was driving, and my phone rings, and it's the social worker. And usually that's just, he's just rude, and he's going to say, "Hey, I'm coming by your house today." So I was like, "Okay." And I answered, and I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Hey, who was that lady that was at your house last week?" Because my cousin came there to help me understand what he's saying. And I wanted my sister to be, but you just take what they can give you. And I know not to argue with them. It's like I said, there's no arguing anymore. And that's backtrack. I'm backtracking again, because that's one thing. Even though you want to talk and you want to say so bad that to defend your name, it doesn't matter. you're gonna do what they're telling you to do, and you just gotta accept that. It sucks, but they have you. That's your power. They take it. You just yes sir, and you man up. That's what I did. I just yes sir. As much as I want to say no, man. That's not true. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to hear that, and he he's got to see it eventually. I mean, he's got to see through the sides and everything. So you just do it, and then in the end, they see it, and it sucks because they saw it when it was too late. But they're gonna see it, and that's all I know. I don't even care if they see it now because I've already been punished. I've been punished more than enough, and I've been punished too much. That's what I would say. It was too much punishment, but what are they gonna do now? They're not gonna go back and go, sorry, here, let's time travel and give you your son back. No, it's too
Yeah.
late. So you just do it because they're gonna make you do it anyways. Oh well, and you're innocent, so why not do it? It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. You lose your weekends. You lose everything.
Yeah.
You don't have that freedom anymore. But I was back. I was driving. I answered it, and he said that. He said I was too scared to ask because I didn't want to hear that it wasn't every week. But he told me, well, I'm aiming here, man, to get Grayson home. He'll come over every day during the week. You can't do weekdays though, can you? And I was like, no, I can't do. I didn't care what day it was, but if he said Grayson's bedtime was 8, which I don't know that. I don't know his bedtime yet. But so I said, okay. And he said, so that wouldn't work during the week. So I'm aiming for Saturday or Sunday. I didn't care what day it was on the weekend. I said, any day doesn't matter. He said, I know you don't care. You just want to see. He said, but you're going to be getting 4 hours with him, man. And I was like, 4 hours? But I was so scared because I was like, you realistically, the state only has got to give you an hour or 2 hours a month. So I was like, I'm going to lose that weekly. So I was scared to take that. I was like, that's a gamble to take 4 hours over one. I was like, because that one, I'm seeing him every week at least. I was like thinking 2 weeks. I was too scared, but I said weekly. And he said, or weekly or bi-weekly. And he said, every week. And it sounded like he was like being nice this time. He said, you're going to see Grayson every week at your house. That's what he said. And then he told me more that if you want to go out to eat with them, you can. And I was like, what? Because it's been so strict for so long. So I didn't trust that, and I'm not gonna go. I don't go out to eat. I said he's home. He's home until he's home. I'm not. I just want to spend time with him. So he told me that, and I didn't believe it. But then it all cycled back, and I was like, "Was this from buying a guy a sandwich?" I didn't know. I was like, "This is what it was waiting for. All this was a sandwich." No.
No, that is a great story, and that's those moments do happen, and it's just 4 hours is
It's like a year to me.
it's crazy to be like we're sitting on this side of the table, right? Obviously, or I'm here and you're there, and you are ecstatic about 4 hours.
That
Yeah, you're ecstatic about 4 hours, and it gives me a new perspective because my youngest daughter Micah, she's 11 months old, and for the past 5 days she's been sick since before Thanksgiving, and she loves her mom, but she is obsessed with her dad, and since she's been sick, she has literally clung to me. And if anybody else holds her, she cries. If anybody else tries to do anything with her, she cries. And so I have literally had a 11-month-old baby attached to me all the time. Over the weekend, at nighttime, she just wants me to hold her. So I'm either sitting in her nursery in her recliner just holding her, or I'm laying in our bed holding her. And I got frustrated last night. And I gave her to my wife, and I was like, I just need a break. Like, she's crying. Like, she won't let me do anything. She won't let me move. I just need a break. And what I've been thinking in my head is like, listen, you tell the story, like the last thing that you would be asking for right now is a break. And so it just hits home, and I'm just very proud of you for fighting that. And it just, like I said, like you don't know who you can change. For the most part, I feel like I'm a leader and a mentor, and I've helped shape people along my way with my story. And you just sharing this with me, I never thought Chandler was going to have an impact on me. I never thought you would have an impact on me. And just because of our positionings in life, and I've always kind of been wanting to reach out to you and to reach out to Trent and lead you guys, I never would have thought anything that you would have said would have had value to make me rethink myself. But just listening to you talk for this, this hour, like I wanted my daughter to just give me a break. Or it's a holiday weekend and we have all of our kids, my wife has her daughter from her previous relationship, and I have my 2 boys plus the baby, and it's been crazy holiday stuff. And it's just like, oh, I need a break. Like, but you would have given anything to had a crying baby on you,
That
right?
like that in the start when you don't know how fast life can change. So in the start, I was working and I was the only working. So when you get off work, I love seeing them. I wanted to, but it'd be the bottle time, and I didn't eat. I wanted to eat something real quick, and then I was like, okay, just one second, and I can see that I took for granted bottle feedings. That's the first thing I thought, because I'd be thinking, this is like, oh, a lot right now doing feeding a bottle, and I never wished I got to feed a bottle again in my life because I took that for granted. And then I was so excited when even in the greenhouse when a bottle was in that bag. It was a big bottle this time, but I was like, give me that bottle, and I was so excited. But then he was eating food too. I didn't know what to do with food, and I was like, oh no. And then they were like, his snacks are in there, and I was like, snacks, and I was like, I don't know.
He's ready to grow.
Yeah, so I just pulled the snack out, and I was like, maybe he grabbed it and he bite it, and he was showing me what to do, and he was moving like he could crawl, and that was all weird because he couldn't move when I had him last. That was what was weird to see too. He was getting up and crawling and biting the floor and stuff. Like he looked up and grabbed my hat and ate it, and I didn't know why he was doing that, but I didn't even care. I was like, eat my hat. Like I just it was just great. And then I just when he came home the first time, that was like it wasn't real. I just kept thinking because you're in a room for. I just want. It felt like a jail. It felt like you couldn't even be outside. It was still warm in this time to have him outside. I couldn't walk outside with him. I just wanted to have him in air. Not for an hour. Not I just want to walk him through air. I wanted to take him out of a car seat, and I got to take him out of his car seat and walk him inside, and it was weird to show him his house again, his room, because I wanted to make sure I could have left my house. I could have got out of the lease and I could have went back home with my parents, and I could have been the guy that said, no, this is sad in this house. I said, no, I'm going to start a new life in this house. I'm not going to sit back. So I wanted him to come home to the house he left in. That was my goal. He's going to make it right back to where he left. And he had his room still, and he got his room back. And I got to bring him into his room, and the first thing he did was sit on the floor, and he loved his aunt. He loved his family. He was so happy. He knew them all. He loved everybody. He was laughing at them. He was just staring at them. He was smiling. He crawled and played to his toys immediately. He sat him on the floor, and he looked over at his toy box, and he just crawled and grabbed toys. He was just playing with them and eat them. And I was like, what are you doing? He was happy. And I thought it was so good. And it was 4 hours felt forever. It was like, I couldn't even explain the feeling. It's just you didn't want him to leave. And he loves ceiling fans. I already knew that, but he loves them even more. It's fun. You gotta learn them again, and that was hard. But I'm learning him quick. I learned what he likes. He loves that energy. Last time he was sounding like I was making animal noises. He would imitate them, and he says dad dad. He said that in Greenhouse 17, and that felt good. And he said it on his own. I was like, what are you doing? He said, dad, dad. And I was like, what? I was like, who's dad, dad? I was like, in my head, I was like, hold on now. I said, I hope it's me. But that lady laughed in there, and I said, write that down, dad, dad. That's a good thing. But he said that, and when I had to put him back in the car, I didn't know that would be sad, but that was hard. I put him in the car. Now the crying when it happens, I just go, oh, it's a joke. I just try and make it a joke to everyone. So I'm sitting there, I can't even talk. My cousin's like, you need a hug? I'm like, no, I'm good. I was like, get out of here. I'm good. And I go back inside, and then I can't process it. But then they're like, next weekend, you'll see him again. And I'm like, I just hope I see him again next weekend.
You've come a long way with this, and you've had some awesome people in your corner. Your sister has, I'm sure she's wanted to knock heads throughout some of this, but she's done a good job of just staying. I don't want to say staying in her lane, but keeping it with grace. And I think you know, your mom and your grandmother, and obviously you call him your dad, which is awesome. Uncle Mike that I talk about in my stories is Chandler's dad through marriage, obviously, and he just calls him dad.
I don't call him dad, just Faith. I would tell everyone else he's my dad, but I just call him Mike because that's all he's known.
So I think that you just keep playing this time game, and I think it's just going to be a matter of time, literally.
It's just a matter. You give people power, they have power, and it feels good, I bet. And I know that it's not forever. And then you see that power is gone. You know they're losing that power. I've gotten texts from random numbers during all this, and you tell yourself it's to mess you up. I made it like I don't know, I got a new number. No, I have the same number. It didn't faze me. I won't ever let anything faze me. My son. That's all my thought. And I know when people fear that you're getting close back to your son because they want to stop that. No, you're supposed to hurt. You're supposed to lay there and die and forget and move on. Never. I would never. That's not ever gonna happen. It's him forever. Till he's 18 and he's still forever.
Didn't take you for that kind of guy.
That's all that it's about. I didn't take myself for that either because I didn't know that I would. I knew I loved him so much from the moment he came out and looked at me. I knew that, but then I know I love him even more. I loved him. I've had tattoos that were not. I shouldn't have got, but I put one on. Show it. I put one on for him, and it's forever because he's forever.
We've been on a roll. When we first sat down and you seemed kind of comfortable talking, and I don't think you realized how much you got off your chest just now. Maybe you do.
I was just gonna wing it. I don't, because that's the part of it. I never think about these problems because that's what will bring you down. All you think about is the happy, because the sad, it will eat you. And I didn't let it eat me. The last visit he had a lot of fun. He kept yelling. It felt like he was thinking of me as silly. And it did make me cry. I walk into because I pretend look at him, I go, bye, see ya, and I walk away and he would just put his little head up and he'd just start smiling so hard because I was going, bye, see ya, and I was like, well, maybe if I make bye, see ya a game, it's like, I'll see you next Sunday. He just thinks, oh, he's waiting, but it's just because he's so little, and he can't even talk, he's blah, blah, blah. But I was, bye, see ya, and he was just, and I peeked back around the corner and he just start laughing really hard, like laughing, and dad, that's what he said. He laughed at me and went, dad, and I was like, and I just had to walk away, and I looked back at him and he was just smiling again, staring at me. That was the best feeling ever.
From a dad side of things, man, being the funny, getting to be the funny, goofy, and the laughter, the amount of joy it brings you is just awesome. And so, like, when I talk, on the show, when I talk about dads that aren't involved, I'm actually, we kind of we talked about a plan, and I want to save, this conversation has been so good, I want to say we're going to do a part 2 with you if you're good with that.
Yeah.
Chandler also has a very interesting backstory. And so I kind of told you when you sit down, hey, we're going to shape this with talking about your current situation, capture our audience, and then we were going to backtrack to talk about your relationship with your father, your role models, how that's all went. We're not going to talk about that tonight because I think that we've opened doors here for you, for me, for viewers, and I think you are going to provide so much value in another episode as well. So we're not going to dip into that, but I will just go ahead and say to people watching, and Chandler's father has passed away. When did he pass away?
It was August 2021. It was August 23rd. It was a week after my birthday.
Yeah. So Chandler's biological father has passed away, and if you don't mind, that relationship has been inexistent, rocky, okay, hopeful, inexistent, hopeful, rocky, right?
Yeah,
kind of the whole.
I remember him. I remember him a lot, and I know he battled a lot.
Yeah.
I can feel I'm his son.
Yep.
I know, so I understand the problems he was probably dealt, because our minds were probably alike, and he just chose the wrong method. He looked for the ways, but he looked in a bottle, and that's.
So have you guys did he reach out, or did you all reach out to try to rekindle him during your adult life?
He would text me every now and then. I think he wanted to, but I'd gotten older by then, so it was weird. I'd talk to him on the phone. I remember sitting in the car talking to him for hours, and then it'd be like cool, but then I'd be like, that's too much in my life right now. I was like, because I'm hanging out with my mom, and then Mike's helping me fix my car.
So we are gonna, that dynamic, that whole relationship, how your mom kind of manifested and made it through all that. We're gonna do a part 2. Definitely, I think it's gonna be great, just to kind of talk about your upbringing, because statistically, you just like I'm breaking the mold with my children. I wasn't involved. Had a few adult male key players in my life to kind of navigate, but for the most part, I've chose to become a good father. You are choosing to become a good father. You don't have anything to mimic off of. I mean, your Mike's been a blessing, right? Mm-hmm. But as far as saying if you say dad, my biological dad, the dad that birthed me, there's no resume that shows you from that man how to be a great father, right?
No, I won't tap into too much because to save it for the part 2, but I'd say that growing up, I think I would have ended up like my father, not with the alcohol, but with the anger, like how he could just tap into, he could just take it to 20, and that had to do with his alcohol too, I'd say. But I felt like I could have had that temper, and I think growing up with Mike, he said he took that temper down. I think I watched how he acted, and one day it just clicked in my mind. I know I was a mean kid to my mom because that's what I heard growing up, names. And I think that one day Mike put that thought in my head to go, that's mean, why are you saying that, blah, blah. And then one day I remember in middle school, I just said, I'll never call my mom a B word again or something. Because when you're in 5th grade, 6th grade, that's what you hear kids doing. That's what I was doing.
As far as your mouth, golly, you could cut somebody down at 7 years old, man. You talk about making everybody around you want to cry. And I say that, I'm joking. I'm not joking about the seriousness of it. I'm joking now because what we do through trauma, as we grow, we can look back and laugh, right? He is that kid that if there was YouTube or TikTok back then, and you want to watch some kid just like cuss his parents straight up and down, I'm surprised his mom never took him to like Maury or what's that one guy that had the drill sergeant come on? I don't know, but Chandler was a rough one. And so I'm blessed to see you from that angle. You were just a kid. I'm not even talking, which you were a tough teenager too, but you're under 10 at this point being buck wild, dude. But to see you go from that to this determined, gentle father that has a new perspective, A, on life, B, on God, C, on family. The list goes on. And I'm proud of you. I know I'm not your dad and I'm only 11 years older than you, but as somebody that I would call cousin or brother or somebody that I would defend, I am proud of you and you have my full support of whatever you do. You can reach out. We don't have to talk about that on here, but we don't text all the time, but I've texted you during crucial moments when I thought you needed some words.
Started it with this and I couldn't say anything because it continued to distracting me, but I have that text. I still have that text. I turned it into a song cover I did, but I think there was it typoed something and I caught it before I put it on there, but I had that text. I looked at that text. You sent that text. One of the things with music I did, and I was off of it for 3 years, but I think I've recently tapped into, I have like 10 songs made that I can't put out until but it's not like they're bad, but I can't put them out. It was like a concept. It was called Seeing Gray. I named it Seeing Gray because of when I closed my eyes, I would see my son. I would have dreams of him. So instead of dark, it was real. It wasn't I'm seeing gray. I would see his face every blink. So
yeah, I seen that you released I think it was a song or something, but just you're creative, man. You're creative. Your artistic approach, like Seeing Gray. Like I obviously feel like I am somewhat artistic and creative, and so hearing that, I'm like, man, that's good. Not just from a marketing standpoint or anything, but just from like, you're gifted. You're gifted. Now, let's use it. No, but so the goal here is we're going to get you back on here on for part 2, and talk about your life and kind of what led you up to fatherhood. And then we're going to stay on this track of your music, and obviously you're working a full-time job and you're trying to get your child back and do all that stuff. But I think this journey, just like my journey led me to this. I didn't know this was going to be a thing, and right now it's very small in a perspective. But I have hopes that this can touch people. Your music is what do we do when we're happy, we're sad, we're mad? What do we do? Working out, we listen to music. You have a gift for music. I think you can take your approach with your adversity through what you've experienced with Grayson and just some of your life history. And I think you can you rap good. You have great beats. I think you can take that and maybe twist it to your mature level and be like, okay, hey, I can still rap and I can rap what you feel and what you mean and change a few choice words up and have something great. And so something's going to happen. You're going to have a breakthrough. I don't know if it's music wise. I don't know if it's this video goes viral and people are like, oh, who's that Chandler guy? I don't know what it is, but the breakthrough may just be more strength to get through the next day. And when you become a full-time dad with Grayson, the ability to just navigate that so easily.
That's the thing with this. When I saw you doing this, I know how hard it is to go online and do this. And I know what a dream is. You in the start, no one looked at Michael and said he's going to do a podcast. So I know that you got to change your character. You got to go on there and not like in the start we said, you don't know what people are going to say. You got to do it. And that's vulnerable to do. That takes a man to do. So then I said, I'm going to get on that with him too, because maybe I can help him with a video. So that's why you just keep going. And when it feels like nothing's coming from it, like you said, to never give up, I gave up. I didn't want to give up. I think it was I made it see. I just gave up.
It was the best decision at the time.
Yeah, I gave up. That's what we'll call it. I won't sugarcoat it. I couldn't handle doing it because the truth is I don't like music. I didn't like sitting there and doing it, but I was thinking of how can I just help everyone, my family. And I thought that generational wealth and get out. And I know I could do it. I know it could happen, but then I see all the weird stuff in the world. I'm like, I don't know I want a part of that. And then it's laziness too on top of it. But I knew this will go somewhere. So I thought if I come on here too, someone that doesn't go online and sit here, I've experienced going and making a song face to face, and you got to face that this probably helped motivate my recent little music, tiny little video I did, because I was like, I need to tap back in. I did that one, but I thought I can come on here and do it too. And then you're not alone. You're in here because I believe in this, and I know it will blow up. Because if you keep just doing this, and it'll get better, because it'll get better when you talk with more people. They'll fall back on it, and then they'll just, who is he? What is he talking about? And they'll go right back to your first video like you planned in the start. You're given certain destiny no matter what age. You found it now.
This is going to change people's mindsets. And so I'm smiling because this is what I wanted this platform to be like. It even sitting across from you has changed how I view you. So it's like to get on here and share stories. It's not attention. You're not asking for attention. I'm not asking for attention. We share the stories, and then people that watch it, I'm like, oh my God, that's my life. Or, hey, that's my brother. Or that's my sister. That's my dad. These people went through this. We need to share this. We need to talk. And so when I say building a community, I'm talking men, women, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, foster kids, adopted kids. Like, I want it to be a place where you can go and you're never alone, right? Because that's the hardest place to be, is alone. And I guarantee you what you've experienced is, I have a unique story with the way I obviously had abusive parents, absent father. I hit that world and people relate to me on that. You're coming in here as a dad that's lost rights, trying to get rights back, fighting tooth and nail. There's going to be people that watch this and be like, man, he is living the life I'm currently living. And somebody's going to play this episode. I know it. I've prayed over before we did this episode. Somebody out there is about to give up. I don't know if it's literally on their own life, if it's their chase for their child, or maybe they've been chasing their child for a while and they're just going to step back because they're tired. Somebody, because of what you've shared tonight, you've saved a life. You've saved a father and son's relationship, a father and his daughter's relationship. You did that. God used you. God did it, right? I think you did a great job. I feel like this has been great for both of us, and I feel like somebody out there is going to benefit from this. I don't know. I keep saying it, and also I think this is going to be a big. If nobody gets anything from this, I think your family gets something from this.
Everyone will watch like they've been watching. My family watches you. They're going to watch this one. And that's why I've sat and I've contemplated, because I didn't do this alone. I know that's what people can't take too, because not everybody's gifted with, like, they don't have the privilege of family to just come right there. And I've heard that in yours too. I know it's hard. And my sister was somebody I thought, like, she would be mad during all this. I thought, like, this would affect her. But I got to see her have no reaction in any of this. She had no reaction. Her only reaction was when this happened. I'll speed this up because I thought of this on the way here. I lost everything in my house too. I came home and I went and stayed with my mom for a while because it was hard. I went there for maybe 2 weeks, a week. But my uncle went and he changed the locks on my house because after all this and everyone's gone, they're gone out there. It's done. So the locks got changed. I guess windows don't lock. You can get in through windows. There was a footprint on my couch and big old New Balance. I don't know. Everything was gone in my baby's room already. That was already gone. And I lost some hats that were my real dad's. Like my birth father hats that before he passed away, I had his hats. Those were gone too. It was all sentimental. But I remember being like, oh, everything's gone. I was left with a little sign with Grayson's name, a couch, a little tiny couch, and a baby jumper on the floor, and it was just empty. And it would make the little noises sometimes, and I just had to stare at that. And I was like, everything's gone, and I remember my sister saying, it's okay, we'll get it all back. Who cares about that stuff anyways? We'll get them better stuff. And I can't put all this in order because I don't want anyone, but I remember them wanting to sit down and make a video where I stared at a camera, but then I thought when I was coming on here, I remember from everyone, and it's not in order to take away. I remember from the day when you and Megan were in that pool engaged, and you just kept asking about Grayson, and it had been a month of a secret for everyone. And I just told you guys, and I remember what you said, and I remember Gage walking up and giving me a hug, and he said, "Love you, bye." I remember that stuck with me. I remember Megan and talking to me, and then Arlen and Atlee sitting there listening, but I didn't want to say because I didn't want them to be like freaked out. I know they were probably like, oh gosh. But I remember 4th of July. I can start it all. I remember everybody hugging me. You hugged me, and then you had your little baby there, and you guys let me hold the baby. And I remember how good that felt, and it was just depressing, but it was good. And everyone was like, oh, you know my baby, yeah, look. And they were calling me Uncle Jan still, and I was like, I remember how good that felt. I remember Trent hugging me, and I remember Megan and Matt. I haven't told them or texted them. Like I said, this isn't an order for anybody. I should have texted everyone sooner. They showed me the door to church. I remember that forever. I know I just quit showing up, and I just tried a new church, and then I fell off. I remember that, and I remember my cousin bringing me to her house, and she said, it's just stuff. We'll get more stuff. They cooked me dinner every week. I think they had me at their house every day. My sister refurnished my entire house. She put tables in there. She kept sending me money, and you can't buy love. But in a time I was supposed to fall, all these people said, you're not falling. So I didn't do it on my own, and I know that's hard for people, but even if I didn't have this, your number one thought is still your son. Because I didn't need this, I was still, but they just helped. That helped, but the gym helps or something. Water helps. If you can't have the people, you don't need it because you are the person for your kid. I remember Trent gave me a Bible. He gave me a Bible to read. My uncle Robbie, he helped me. My brother-in-law Bruce, is all out of order. I can't even describe. My Mimi paid $5,000 in fees and court fees because we kept getting bad lawyers. Other side probably didn't know that. Yeah, I was losing and losing. I was taking L's, but I was taking them with whatever smile I could force up because I knew it wasn't the end because I'm not stopping, so I can keep taking L's. I'm not. It's in the end. He's coming home. I just want to thank them. I love them more than I could ever explain. I love all of you guys. even if it's the little things. Text the prayers. You text me, I'm praying for you. I remember it all. Everyone was praying for me. I can't thank my mom, Mike. He did so many things. I can't say that either. What he did. I can't say what my mom did because they all played a role. They all didn't give up in the way my mom was working. She was not stopping. She was not giving up. I'm Grayson's dad. But I'm saying she treated that was her baby. Away, and they all knew. They trusted me when I told them we gotta play it. Just I can't even explain to them right. I can't thank them. There's just no thank you. There's no paying that back. My cousin Lauren Jackson, my friend, he's a brother too. He took me fishing when this happened. Dude. We caught fish and he cooked them right there in a random. He bought a little thing. I remember that. He bought a little oven top thing that didn't work. And he cooked them fish and they smelled disgusting. But because he's burnt he did it in his apartment, dude. So everybody was there. Everybody was texting. I didn't feel alone. I didn't do this on my own. And God's blessed me with amazing people. I can't thank you all. And this tells the world I didn't make it on my own. I had so much support.